you often just get haunted by a thought? Do you get to a place where you have one thought about something that is definitely not nice, and it just stays there, and it goes round and round and round and round, and it won't go away? And you just find yourself constantly thinking about it. There's this amazing stuff happening around you, and all you're thinking about is this horrible thought that once planted refuses to leave your brain. And it just doesn't matter if it's a real thing, because it's real in your head, because it is staying there and making itself completely real. First thing, let me tell you this, you are not alone. It is something that so many people think. People tend to just think thoughts and get trapped in them and cannot get out. You can call it obsessive, negative, useless, whatever you want to call it. But actually, you're just feeling trapped. You're feeling trapped in thoughts that just sit there. And it's always a really, really terrible thought. It's never a really fantastic one like, oh, I'm going to win the lottery. It's always, oh my God, this terrible thing is going to happen to me. And the longer you feel this thought and the longer it stays in your brain, it just feels like it's becoming more and more real. And actually, I then start to think, is this real? Was it not real? What actually happened? It's almost like, do you wonder that you actually make it happen because you've thought it so long? Well, the thing is, if you think something all the time, your brain literally has no choice but to dedicate all its available resources to that particular event or thought. And it does it by creating and strengthening neural connections between you and this unknown, as yet often unhappened event that you cannot stop thinking about. And it creates really, really embedded, powerful circuits around this thought. So what then happens is that you think more and more of the same thought. You end up behaving as though it's real. And then it becomes something that becomes automatic in your system. What am I saying? I'm saying this. Thoughts create feelings, and feelings then create thoughts consistent with those feelings. It's a terrible magic loop which you can get stuck in absolutely forever. You see, because your brain does not know the difference between reality and actually fantasy. It really doesn't. So what it does is it acts according to the feelings of the body, because your reality sits inside your body. So it generates thought that create the same emotions. So when you keep having thoughts that create feelings, emotions, and even if they're not real, even if they're fantasy, even if they're something that happened before, what actually happens is that constant thinking of it creates a reality in your physiology and in your body and in your brain. And for many of us, this is how we continue to actually live in the past. And this is also why it is so difficult to change. But the good news is, and yes, there is good news. The good news is that you can change the state of how you think, what you think, and actually ultimately change how your brain is wired and then change how your body reacts. I mean, of course, I'm not saying it's easy, but what I am saying is A, it's possible, and B, it's absolutely definite that you can do that. So the first thing to think about is that if you want a new me, the old you kind of has to die. I mean, we're not dying literally, but we're killing the version of you that used to be. Did you like that version? Is that version great for you? Because I have to tell you that if it is great for you, you need to stop watching this video now. But if it's not great for you, if you didn't love it, now's the time to kill off that person. Because the new you is absolutely perfectly placed to create a new life with all the strength, the power, the knowledge that you have now. And if you had a really shitty past, perfect. You now know how not to have one of those. So how do we do this? The first step is actually to start thinking new thoughts long enough to actually build your neural pathways in your brain so that your brain believes you and continues to allow those thoughts until your body starts to feel them. When your body starts to feel your new thoughts, that is when you are succeeding. Now, in the beginning, you start to feel them only for a millisecond, and then it goes away. But every time you think it, the new thought, again and again and again, you will find that you can hold that new emotion, that happier emotion, more and more and more. Now, what you're actually doing there is building, so you've got one little synaptic pathway built, then you build 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. It's like building a bridge between the old you and the new you. And once you've built and crossed that bridge, you can give up that whole thing. In fact, your body does it automatically for you. So your only goal is that when you think that bad thought, and it is incredible how often you think bad thoughts. Test it if you don't believe me. One time, just sit down, give yourself an alarm. Set an alarm for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and go about your day. And every time you have a negative thought, put a line down, and then a line, and a line. And then look back at when your alarm rings and see how many times you had a negative thought. I guarantee you're going to be absolutely horrified because it is so automatic. Now, the joy of replacing this with new good thoughts is, yes, it's difficult, but you're actually becoming a master of your mindset. And how fantastic is that? So every bit of this, you are actually learning how to control what you think and when you think it, and that is the secret to all of life. The problem is that we actually believe a lot of what our mind tells us, and we sit there and we think, yeah, I'm not so good, I'm not so great, I'm not. But really, do you know a baby that wakes up and thinks, I'm not so great? No, babies think they're adorable, and you were adorable as a baby, and you thought you were adorable. I have news for you. You're still goddamn adorable. You just forgot. And all you have to do is remember that these are limiting beliefs, they're crap, and they are absolutely not true. You don't have to believe that. What you have to do is build that bridge from the old you to the new you. And how are we going to do that? We are going to build that bridge because every time you get a negative thought, you're going to think, oh, what is the opposite of that thought? Or if it's easier for you, you're going to think about this one good person, this one good thing of how you see yourself. And you're going to constantly feel how good that feels. And when you constantly are feeling how good that feels, you're building that bridge. And the joy of building that bridge is you don't have to then go out and get rid of the old you. It is automatically pushed out, crowded out by the new you. Yes, it's hard. I promise you I know it's hard. But it's only hard in the beginning. And then it gets easier and easier and easier. You didn't learn how to walk in one day. You're not going to learn how to do this in one day. But you did learn to walk. And if you didn't, this is the wrong video for you. But if you did, which I'm assuming, then you know how to do this too. Because you just were focused and unwavered. And every time you stood up and walked, somebody went, yay! So every time you think a positive thought, every time you think a good thought, in your own brain go, yay! And make yourself believe how amazing you actually are. And you are amazing because you are changing how you think. And how you think is going to create your reality. And you are every single time on a step to the most fantastic life you could live. So I hope this video was useful. If you like it, please like it. Please subscribe to my channel and click the button so you'll know whenever we put out a new video. And please share this with the most miserable person that you know. And let's try and make them happy.